Joining me now is White House COVID advisor, Dr. Scott Atlas. Dr. Atlas, do you believe that should Biden win, his experts will urge, if there are COVID cases popping in January, urge us to lock down again?
Hey, Laura, thanks for having me. Well, anyone who's talking about doing another lockdown has really not been paying attention for the last 7 months and is simply out of touch with average Americans, because the lockdowns have been, the prolonged lockdowns are a complete disaster. They're a complete disaster for missed health care. They're a complete disaster for average working families, and particularly for people who are working class and lower income people. People have been killed by people who want to have prolonged lockdowns. And when I say killed, I look at the data, and that means, for instance, this week it was shown 46% of the most common types of cancers were not diagnosed during the lockdown. Those cancers didn't disappear. They're there. People will present with much later, more widespread disease. Half of people who had chemotherapy appointments didn't show up. That's 650,000 Americans. Half of people who had immunizations for children didn't come in out of the fear instilled by our so-called public health experts. You know, you could go on and on, 40% of people with acute strokes. And this is sort of devastating. When you close schools, just schools alone, we had more than 200,000 cases of child abuse not reported during the 2 months of spring school closures. And now we're in a situation where 1 out of 4 young college-age Americans have contemplated killing themselves during the month of June. That's a CDC report. This is completely off the rails, and it's much worse, not for the elites who are sipping lattes working for a tech company where I live in Silicon Valley, but for people who are average working class Americans. They are destroyed by prolonged lockdowns. Anyone who says there should be a prolonged lockdown.
Hold on, Dr. Scott. Why don't we hear Dr. Fauci ever addressing the larger American patient? Do you ever ask him that? Do you ever talk to him and say, you never talk about these other circumstances that have been created by these lockdowns? And I'm telling you, this guy, Peter Hotez on CNN today, he said, he's a vaccine developer. He said, get ready. I'm telling my own family, get ready for lockdowns this winter. That's what they're saying.
I can say this. History will record the faces of the public health expertise as some of the most sinful, egregious, epic failures in the history of public policy. They have killed people with their lack of understanding and their lack of caring about not just the impact of cases of COVID-19, a virus that the overwhelming majority of people do well in, notwithstanding, of course, we're not underestimating 200,000 Americans who died. That's tragic. But these people have been a gross failure because they never cared to consider the impact of the policy itself. And the policy itself has been a complete epic failure. And honestly, some people say a crime against humanity. These people should be held accountable to what they said.
Yeah, they should be. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the strongest, 1 being the weakest, how do you rate Donald Trump's recovery from COVID?
Listen, the facts speak for themselves. It's not a political statement. It's a data-based statement. You know, the president was caught blindsided. The country, the world was caught blindsided. And there was an immediate mobilization of resources.
Right,
there
but
was
1 to 10, we got to go, Scott.
Out of nothing.
1 to 10.
Okay,
President's recovery.
You got to go 10. I'm sorry. I'd like to go through details, but you're going to force me to say it. I'll say a 10.
All right. I mean, I just saw him tonight in Pennsylvania. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, he looks stronger than ever. So, Dr. Atlas, sorry I had to cut you off, but thank you so much for joining us tonight.